This is a very serious topic. It's almost as if the issue just gets worse and worse every year. I was first introduced to weed when I was in 8th grade. I didn't think too much of it. I was really focused on going to the NBA and becoming a professional basketball player. I didn't see basketball players doing this, so I figured, why should I do that? I just, shrugged it off, didn't think it ever affect me in the future, so that was it. I would hear rappers rap about it, but other than that, it was never something I thought about. Fast forward to high school. Freshman year, not so many kids smoked weed in my grade. It was something that only the delinquent kids did, that if you saw someone smoking weed, you figured that there was something wrong with them or they were going through some insane hardship at home. And that was just something that, it was out of the ordinary. You didn't think majority of the kids in the grade smoked weed, and you just didn't see people doing it publicly. But then sophomore and junior year came around, and it was almost as if everybody came out and was open with smoking weed now. Everybody, from the nerds to the jocks to the kids in drama club, every single group of students was smoking weed now. They would do it during school hours. Every time I'd use the bathroom, I'd see these herds of guys, up to 10, 12, 15 guys, passing around one device. They'd pass around a dab pen and people would all take a hit out of it. For you guys that don't know what a dab pen is, it's basically this little instrument or device that has THC in it, and you inhale it through a tip and then you exhale the smoke. And people don't change the tip every time they use it. So you're passing around a used device that people had their lips on for 5 to 10 seconds, really sucking on it. That's disgusting. Imagine being the 11th guy on that herd. Like, that's crazy. You had 10 different guys put their lips on something before you did. Why on earth do you think that's okay? But because they want that fix, they'll do that. They have no choice. They're so reliant on this drug to be in motion throughout the rest of the day. It's crazy to me. But don't let yourself get to that point, because otherwise you will end up like one of those weirdos in rotation. And I see every different group doing it. I see the athlete in there. I see the nerd in there. And what really hurt me is when I saw this foreign exchange student in there. This kid who came to a different country to improve his life. His parents worked their butt off to be able to afford this life for him and provide him with a better education. He was a super quiet kid. He was in like this special program where he was surrounded with other foreign exchange students, so that way they never felt alone, and they always could have someone to talk to about whatever they're going through, or the difficulties, not having the same first language, because these kids came from all different parts of the world. English is clearly not going to be their first language in most cases. So when I saw him waiting in the rotation session to smoke, I damn near wanted to cry, man. It was so sad. This guy, like, his parents did not sacrifice everything for this. This is not what they wanted their kid doing, and I knew if they ever found out, they'd be devastated. That's another reason why I was never going to fall victim to drugs, is because I knew how much it would hurt my parents. So I didn't want to even risk the fact that they'd find a dab pen on me. I had so many friends in high school whose parents, they'd find their device either hidden in their room somewhere or in their car, and they would cry. They would literally wait for their kid to come home, and the kid would walk into them just crying their eyes out. It was always the immigrant parents that would get so sad, because they worked so hard to get out of their country to come here and give their kid a better quality of life. And now they're heartbroken because their kid is wasting it, getting high. And imagine having to explain that to your parents. Imagine having to give them a talk on why you're being a degenerate, why you're smoking weed, why you're giving them reasons to regret coming here and giving you the life that they thought was right for you. It's such a tough situation to put your parents in, and I never wanted to do that to my parents. I've heard all the horror stories from my friends, and it destroys the trust that your parents have for you. Even if it's one time, they'll never trust you the same ever again. And if your parents can't trust you, it's gonna destroy your future relationship with them. And it might take them some time to forget about and go back to treating you normally and giving you some sort of respect. But Once respect is lost, it can never be earned to the same length that it was originally. It's not something you want to play around with. I emphasize this to guys because destroying that relationship with your parents, it never heals. It never heals the same. Another huge negative that weed creates, and something that is not talked about nearly as enough as it should be, is the false friendships that come with smoking weed. You see 10, 15 guys in this herd, and it's all different niches. You're gonna have the athlete in there, and you might have the nerd in there. And the nerd might supply his pen, and when he's giving it to the athlete, he might think that there's a friendship that's being developed in there. But the only friendship that's being developed is with the drug. The scrawny little kid thinks that the athlete's going to invite him out to all these parties where all the popular kids go, and they're going to hang out together, they're going to work out together, and just and then he feels like he's going to upgrade his social status. But bro, that's not the case. That's not how it works. He is literally using you for the device, and that's it. As soon as he leaves the bathroom or he leaves the smoke session with you, you guys aren't hanging out. You guys aren't talking. He doesn't care about you. It doesn't work like that. You're simply being used. And guess what, bro? If that athlete is using you and you let him use you, he's going to tell all of his actual buddies that you let him hit your device or you let him smoke your weed for free. And guess what? All the other athletes are going to come and use you. They're going to do the same thing. Do you really want to put yourself in that situation? Do you want to be known as a kid that all the athletes used for drugs? Is that really how you want to be? I didn't think so. And guess what? You're not so innocent yourself, bro. Because I know for a fact you use other kids for their drugs. I know for a fact that there's guys that are less popular than you that you use their drugs or you use their pen or their devices or whatever to get high, and you have a brief little interaction with them, and you promise that you're going to hang out with them sometime after school, but you say you're super busy, so it'll be next week, but next week turns into the week after that and the week after that. You're not innocent either, man. You're just as guilty as that athlete that uses you, bro. It's a shame, but you're no better. You're just doing it to a different class of human. How exactly do you feel, bro, knowing that you're no better than the guy that uses you? The best thing you could do is just stop doing drugs completely and see who still interacts with you after that. That way you'll know who your true friends are and the relationships you should focus on building. Figure out who your actual friends are and hang out with them. Even if it's 2 or 3 people that never ask you to smoke weed with them, you're better off hanging out with them than the 15, 20 other guys that only want to hang out with you to smoke weed. A smaller circle is so much better than a larger one that has no meaning to it. These 2 guys you can run with, and you guys will work on building relationships with each other, building better brands, building better business ideas, just becoming better men. And that's really what you should be doing with your time, working with other guys to have relationships that can last a lifetime. Build a brotherhood. What starts off as a friendship will translate eventually to a brotherhood if you chose the right men to build with. Building by yourself is horrible, but building with the wrong people is even worse.